When you hear the name Albert Einstein, what do you imagine? The wild white hair, the thoughtful eyes, perhaps even the famous photo of him sticking out his tongue. Einstein has become more than a scientist. He's an icon of intelligence itself. His theories reshaped physics, his name became a synonym for genius, and his image has been reproduced everywhere from posters to pop culture references. But behind the familiar face was a man whose life was full of contradictions, struggles, triumphs, and mysteries. He wasn't just the father of relativity, he was also a patent clerk, a political activist, a refugee, and in some ways, a reluctant celebrity. In this video, we'll take a deep look into Albert Einstein's life, his revolutionary discoveries, and the way he changed science forever. Then we'll explore 10 of the most fascinating truths and myths about him, from the real story of his grades in school to the fate of his brain after death. Some of these are inspiring, some are shocking, and some are simply bizarre. By the end, you'll know Einstein not just as the genius of relativity, but as a complex, very human figure who left a legacy that continues to shape our world. Early life and education. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg, part of the German Empire. His father, Hermann, was an engineer and salesman who ran an electrochemical factory, while his mother, Pauline, came from a family of grain merchants. Einstein's early childhood was not marked by obvious genius. In fact, there are myths, which we'll return to later, that he was a poor student. The truth is more complicated. He was quiet, contemplative, and didn't speak fluently until he was about 4 years old. His teachers sometimes considered him slow or distracted, but young Albert was already developing an extraordinary curiosity about the natural world. At age 5, his father gave him a simple compass. Albert was transfixed. How could the needle move without being touched? What invisible forces were at play? That moment sparked a lifelong fascination with unseen powers, gravity, electromagnetism, and later, relativity. He studied in Munich and then at the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich. He wasn't the best student in every subject, but he excelled in physics and mathematics. After graduation, he struggled to find a teaching job and instead took a position at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. It was here, away from the academic world, that Einstein had the freedom to think deeply about the universe. The miracle year, 1905. In 1905, Einstein published 4 papers that would change physics forever. This period is often called his annus mirabilis, his miracle year. One paper explained the photoelectric effect, showing that light behaves not just like a wave, but also like particles, what we now call photons. This work later earned him the Nobel Prize. Another paper offered a new explanation for Brownian motion, providing evidence for the existence of atoms. A third paper introduced special relativity, rewriting the laws of space and time. And the fourth gave us the most famous equation in science, E, mc2, revealing the relationship between energy and mass. These papers, written while he was working as a patent clerk, placed Einstein at the center of modern physics. He was only 26 years old. Later achievements. Einstein continued to revolutionize science. In 1915, he published the general theory of relativity, expanding his earlier work to include gravity. Instead of being a force pulling objects together, gravity was described as the curvature of space-time itself. Massive objects like stars and planets bend space, and everything, including light, follows those curves. This theory was confirmed dramatically in 1919 when British astronomers observed a solar eclipse and found that starlight passing near the sun was indeed bent, just as Einstein predicted. Overnight, Einstein became an international celebrity. Newspapers around the world declared that Newton's laws had been overturned. Einstein spent the following decades exploring new physics, warning about the dangers of nuclear weapons, and advocating for peace and global cooperation. He emigrated to the United States in 1933 after Adolf Hitler rose to power, and he spent the rest of his life at Princeton University. Einstein, the public figure. Einstein wasn't just a scientist, he became a cultural figure. His face, his hair, his playful expressions made him instantly recognizable. He was sought after for interviews, public lectures, even political advice. He was also outspoken. He condemned fascism, spoke against racism in America, and supported civil rights. Yet, he also signed a letter to President Franklin Roosevelt in 1939, warning about the potential development of Nazi atomic weapons. A letter that indirectly led to the Manhattan Project. Einstein himself hated war and despised the use of nuclear bombs. He spent much of his later life advocating for disarmament, world government, and human rights. Top 10 Fascinating Facts and Myths about Albert Einstein. Now, let's explore 10 of the most curious, surprising, and sometimes misunderstood facts and myths about Einstein. 1. Myth. Einstein was bad at math. You've probably heard the story. Einstein failed math in school. It's a myth. In reality, by age 15, he was already mastering calculus. What happened was a grating misunderstanding when his school switched systems. Far from failing, Einstein excelled in mathematics from a young age. 2. Truth. Einstein didn't speak fluently until around age 4. This delay worried his parents and teachers. Some later called it Einstein syndrome, a term used to describe children who speak late but then show exceptional abilities. While the delay was real, it clearly didn't stop him from becoming one of the greatest thinkers in history. 3. Truth. The photoelectric effect won him the Nobel Prize, not relativity. Most people associate Einstein's fame with relativity, but the Nobel Committee in 1921 honored him for his work on the photoelectric effect. At the time, relativity was still considered too controversial. 4. Truth. He turned down the presidency of Israel. In 1952, Einstein was offered the presidency of Israel. He declined, saying he lacked the experience and skills for such a political position. Still, the offer shows the respect he commanded worldwide. 5. Truth. His brain was stolen after his death. When Einstein died in 1955, the pathologist who performed his autopsy, Dr. Thomas Harvey, removed Einstein's brain without permission and kept it. He later sliced it into pieces for study. The brain traveled across labs, sometimes even kept in jars in Harvey's home. It became a bizarre chapter in the history of science. 6. Myth. Einstein invented the atomic bomb. While Einstein's famous equation E = mc2 explains the relationship between mass and energy, he had no direct role in building nuclear weapons. He actually opposed their use, though his 1939 letter to Roosevelt helped initiate research. 7. Truth. He was a skilled violinist. Music was Einstein's refuge. He loved playing the violin, often saying that if he weren't a physicist, he would have been a musician. His deep love for Mozart and Bach accompanied him throughout his life. 8. Myth. He was a solitary genius. While Einstein was brilliant, he didn't work entirely alone. He corresponded with scientists worldwide, built on the work of others, and collaborated with friends and colleagues. The myth of the isolated genius oversimplifies the reality. 9. Truth. He had a complicated personal life. Einstein married twice. His first marriage to Mileva Maric, a fellow physicist, was troubled. They had children, including a daughter whose fate remains uncertain. He later married his cousin Elsa. His letters reveal a man deeply focused on science, sometimes at the expense of family. 10. Truth. Einstein's image has become a cultural symbol. From posters to t-shirts, from cartoons to advertising, Einstein's face is everywhere. He's one of the few scientists whose image has become shorthand for intelligence itself. Einstein's legacy. Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76. His last words, spoken in German, were lost because the nurse at his side did not understand the language. But his legacy endures. His theories continue to shape modern physics, from GPS satellites that rely on relativity to black hole research that confirms his predictions. His humanitarian efforts, his warnings about nuclear weapons, and his advocacy for peace remain relevant today. Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world." That, perhaps, is the essence of his genius. Not only did he understand the universe better than anyone else, but he also reminded us that curiosity and creativity are what truly drive human progress. Conclusion. Albert Einstein was not perfect. He was not a magician, nor a saint. He was a man, brilliant, flawed, driven, playful, and endlessly curious. His life reminds us that genius doesn't come from perfection, but from passion and imagination. From the miracle year of 1905 to the mysteries surrounding his brain, Einstein's story is one of science, myth, and humanity. More than half a century after his death, he continues to inspire scientists, students, and dreamers around the world. So the next time you hear someone call another person an Einstein, remember, behind the word is a human being whose ideas changed our universe forever.